Hello, welcome back to my studio. In this video I'm going to go through the materials and equipment that you will need to back or mount your traditional Chinese brush painting. I go through the process of backing and mounting the painting itself in another video, but this will show you the equipment that you will need to get ready in order to do so. So the first thing you will need is some paper that's preferably the same paper as the painting itself was done on. In this way, if you use the same paper, you will find that the paper will stretch and contract at the same rate as the painting paper. They're the same papers, so you shouldn't have any problems with incompatibility. You'll also need a pair of scissors to cut the backing paper to size. And then you'll need a selection of brushes. The first brush that you'll need is a very soft, clean, dry brush. It doesn't have to be exactly like this. What it does need to be is a soft, clean brush, and a sort of a blade or sort of a long, flat shape is good. That's preferable. The next brush you'll need is the pasting brush. Again, it's a soft brush, thin, suitable for putting the paste on. Make sure that it'll fit into your glue, the container that holds your glue, so that you can fit it in there. But it could, this is a sort of an art brush, but it could be a decorating brush of some sort. The next brush is a bit stiffer than the others. This is just a very old, tatty old decorating brush. You can buy brushes specific for this purpose. It's used for brushing and fusing the backing paper to the painting. So it is a slightly stiffer brush. I say this is just a decorating brush, but you can buy brushes that are particularly made for this task. And the last brush you will need is a sort of a smaller pasting brush. This is just a very cheap little craft brush, again flat, but a smallish one. And this is for applying paste around the margins of the painting. You will also find it useful to have a pin, or dressmaking pin, some sort of very fine, sharp implement. Comes in useful. A craft knife. I've got a scalpel blade here. I find that's very good, but that's some sort of lightweight, thin craft knife. You'll also need a bottle to spray water onto your painting. If you don't like or haven't got one of these, you can use a clean, soft brush, but some sort of spray bottle is much more convenient. You'll also need some multi-purpose furniture polish and a soft cloth to use with it. It doesn't really matter what sort of brand it is, but what's important probably is that it's not a wax sort of wooden polish. You want one of those multi-surface polishers, one that does glass, wood, plastic, everything. So a multi-purpose polish and a cloth. You'll also need a bowl of clean water and a cloth in there, and a dry cloth as well. The last thing that you'll need in this section is some glue. This is wheat starch glue, which I made up yesterday, and I've had it stored in the fridge in a pot. If you don't know how to make this glue, I have made a video about how to make the glue as well. Then we'll need some surfaces. We'll need 3 types of surface. The first surface that I've got here is a sealed surface. This is actually a piece of sort of pre-painted hardboard from a DIY store. You could use a glass table, you could use, you know, a kitchen surface. I wouldn't use marble surface if you've got a marble surface kitchen, because it might spoil your marble, but some sort of sealed surface that isn't going to be damaged by repeated wetting and washing. But, you know, some people use a piece of glass, you know, formica, that sort of surface. The next type of surface or board that you'll need is what I call the drying board. Now, I've laid this flat so that you can see it, but normally you would use it in an upright position. But I've laid it flat here today so you can see what I'm talking about. Now, this is a piece of sort of plywood. It's and I've covered it with lining paper, lining wallpaper. So it's not wallpaper with a pattern on, it's wallpaper that you put underneath your paper. So you can buy it from DIY stores. It's called lining wallpaper. The reason why I've stuck it onto my plywood is that if I put a wet painting onto the raw plywood, the resins and stuff in the plywood will come up and mark and stain the painting and ruin it. So if you're going to use a plywood drying board, you do want to cover it with some sort of lining paper, which I glued on all, you know, with PVA. And you want to do it back and front if you're using plywood, because if you only put the paper on the front, it can cause a lot of warping. It's better to put the paper on both sides, both front and back of the paper, of the board. So some people use other surfaces. Some people use like again glass or some sort of like kitchen type surface. You can, which is fine, but I would say just maybe do a test run first to check that your the painting will glue nicely and securely to the surface and dry there, that it doesn't sort of peel off or fall off halfway through the drying process. So I would do a test run on that first. People often ask about whether you can sort of, you know, whether it's okay to leave the paper that's left on the board from a previous painting on there. You can see this is the paper where I've had a previous painting glued on here. And I've cut the painting away when it was dry. But it's left sort of some loose paper here. So if this is the case, what you want to do is just peel off this loose paper. Any sort of loose pieces, take those off. They can't, you know, the pieces that come away easily are the ones you want to remove. And then you can reuse this, you know, you don't have to get all of this paper off. So long as it's stuck down firmly, you know, that's fine. Any loose bits, take those off. And then, you know, you can paste again and the next painting can go on to there. So that's the drying board. The last piece, the last surface that you will need is a piece of clean felt. Now you don't want to use preferably the felt that you use when you're that you put under your painting when you're working on your painting, because it'll probably have bits of paint and ink in it that could, when the painting's wet, contaminate your paint, you know, the finished painting that you want to stretch. So you want a clean piece of felt or blanket or some sort of clean absorbent cloth. So this particular one is felt, but what the important thing is that it's clean and absorbent. The reason for this is that when you spray your painting, when you spray the back of your painting with water, you then need to have something to lay it on. To do that, and you want something absorbent underneath, so that's the purpose of that surface. So you want three surfaces: the absorbent cloth, the drying board, and the sealed surface. So I hope that helps you to get ready to stretch your painting, and I have made another video in which I will show you how to go through the process of stretching or wet mounting your painting using these materials.